Okay, let's go ahead and get into Forza.
Alright, okay. Alright, once we get everybody in here, we'll be ready to go. And welcome to week number 4 of the MEA Prototype Challenge. I'm SSR Mayhem, and alongside me tonight is M&R Nightlock. And Nightlock, just to make sure, go ahead and check the audio settings in your party chat. That way people can hear you. And tonight we have a awesome race coming to you at Hockenheim. We're about to get this set up, so just hang here momentarily with us as I get that set up, so just stay tuned and we'll get things going here very shortly. Had a little bit of a delay tonight, but we're here, we're ready to go, and we're trying to get this thing underway here as soon as possible. So right now we're just getting the lobby set up and ready to rock and roll, and tonight also, if you're one of our YouTubers, we finally got the video and audio ready to rock and roll. So look forward to having that with us here tonight as well. So while we wait for all the drivers to get in, we'll set it up. And while that's going on, we'll set the grid order. And Nightlock, welcome to the show, and what are you looking forward here tonight as we about to go about 32 laps of racing here?
I'm more than happy that you guys decided to have me on. It's great to be here.
Well, we're glad to have you.
Honestly, I'm looking forward to seeing some really good racing from these guys. I know some of them have put in some pretty nice performances so far throughout the season.
And we're looking forward to seeing what people have in store for us tonight. Nick T not looking like he's going to ring the bell here tonight, so you go start up into the 4th position now. Eric Speed starting in the 5th. Kamikaze getting on in here. Ricky Bobby. Got the drift at. Yes, we do all this stuff. This takes a little more time as others, but we have a really nice field of cars here tonight, Nightlock, and looks like we got about 15 drivers. It would be the most we have this season, so nice to have as always. It's nice to see the series grow.
Absolutely. Hopefully we'll be able to see a lot of good, clean racing and keep things nice and competitive on track. Give a good show for the people that are out there watching.
Right, you are, and Kamikaze or Monster, should say, using his Kamikaze account tonight for specific purposes, purposes we won't go over, but he is here and he is ready to rock and roll as well tonight. FNG, Speed Bumps, and Lucas McMee. So I have everybody on the mark. It looks like somebody just happened to lag out, so we'll give them a chance to get in here. So about 33 laps, 2 quick spots. The first pace lap, green to checkered. So while they get themselves organized.
Yeah, I think probably the most interesting thing about this series, at least to me, just has to be the diversity of drivers, because I know that you've managed to accumulate a whole range of skill levels, so it's going to be really interesting to continue to see how they manage to traverse that difference in ability on.
Right, and it's been nothing but fun all season long, and we got I'm sorry, F4H Scottson on the pole here tonight. He started last week for the first time in the series. Look to see if he get his first win. SSR Markey in the Porsche. That's a lot of Porsches there, about from 2nd to, I believe, 8th place. And once I bring the sheet up here in a little bit, I'll tell you how it looks. But the Porsches are supposed to be dominating here. But Scottson, what can you say, fast in that Peugeot and showed it in qualifying.
See, where is the thing that I am currently looking for? I cannot seem to find it.
And we're still waiting for one driver now, so we'll give him a little time and give him a chance to get in here. While that's going on, we'll
Yeah, just a quick question for you, that way I can actually make sure I'm updated on all the information. Where is it on the Twitter that I can find the current point standings?
The MEA organization, just scroll down, you'll find it there. Scroll down a little bit, you'll end up finding it.
There it is. I didn't quite go far enough.
So I believe all the drivers have gotten in. Once I get confirmation, we'll be underway here. Alright, so we just got confirmation that the last driver's just getting things ready to rock and roll. Again, Kamikaze had to get some certain things situated, as he actually got a little bit of a comms ban recently, but his backup account was able to use the mic, so that's very important to have, especially in the driver's party for communication purposes. So we'll be going our way here very soon.
Yeah, definitely having that communication is one of the most important parts of the race. Just being able to call out passes, call out where you are on track, if you see any incidents or any wrecks. Being able to share that knowledge with everyone just to try and keep any impact to a minimum.
Well, while we wait, I'm going to take the time to say that ACR Yuko, currently the points leader in the series. He's had 2 wins on the season, back-to-back. And it looks like we're ready to rock and roll here, so pardon me as I get ready to start the lobby here. Hopefully everybody gets in nice and easy. Important that we get all the drivers in with ease. And once again, if you're just tuning in, whether you're on YouTube, which we're really excited about tonight with our new settings and our new audio and video quality, it should be a lot more enjoyable for you guys that are on YouTube watching. For the guys that are on Mixer that are watching, I got my chat box down the right-hand corner of my screen. I'm SSR Mayhem alongside with M&R Nightlock as we bring you tonight's action here at Week 4 in Hockenheim of the the MEA Prototype Challenge. So right now, they're getting ready for their pace lap, and I'm going to check everything to make sure. And everybody is in, so the starting lineup looks like this. On the pole position, number 3 would be F4H Scottson. Right behind him, the number 0 would be SSR Markey, who's been talking about all week being able to keep up with Scottson and says that he thinks he's got the plan in tune to be able to knock him off for the win here tonight. Starting in the 3rd position, Slapshift Racing's one and only Mod Support. 4th will be Happy Cat Racing's Yuko with 2 wins on the season already. In 5th is Eric Speed 01, as he's looking for a pretty good performance tonight. Ricky Bobby in the 6th position. And 7th, Slapshift Racing's SSR Godly Drift. In the 8th position will be TX3's only, one and only, the man with the plan, the guy that paints the cars, Topher, in his first series ever, as he's been currently in the 3rd in the point standings. Look forward to putting on another good performance here tonight, but it's got a little bit of work to do starting in the middle of the pack. In the 9th position is Midnight Racing's one and only Fujiwara, or Rama, I'm sorry if I mispronounced that, Nightlock, if I may ask, is that correct saying of the name?
Yes, that is correct. It is Fujiwara.
And in the 10th position, Happy Cat Racing's one and only HDR Daytona. Last week, devastating situational issues near the end of the race as him and SSR Katie battled it out back and forth. He ended up getting engine damage with 2 laps to go with about 1,000, I think almost about a 1,000-foot gap. SSR Katie would end up winning last week. So Daytona looking to bounce back, but it's got a lot of work to do starting from the 10th position. In the 11th position, GT500 X Wheels X. In the 12th position, SSR FNG 96. And in 13th is X Speed Bump 96X. In the 14th position, normally known as SSR Monster, bring out the SSR Kamikaze machine. And rounding out the field, the one and only Lucas McMees from Australia, looking to put on his performance here tonight. And once again, if you're just tuning in, and I'm sure you've heard this more than once already, I'm SSR Mayhem alongside with Midnight Racing's one and only Nightlock, as we get ready for 32 laps of racing here at Hockenheim. I'm going to ride on with SSR Markey to start this race. And here we go. The racers qualified, practice all week long. 15 drivers making the show. We're about to go green flag racing as F4H Goshen crosses the line, and we're good. Here we go. And as we're off, and F4H Scottson trying to maintain the lead. Oh, look at this mess, and we got a wreck in the back of the pack. Not sure who it is. It looked like a mess, but we're going to go check it out here really, really quickly. And it's GT500 with HDR Yuko in the mix. So one of the top drivers racing in the point standings is now dropped back to 14th. So that's something to watch for.
Depending on if he picked up any damage, that could hurt his chances. And it looks like we currently have SSR Godly Drift coming back on track from the grass. Outside of there, turns 2 and 3. Not sure what happened to him, but something went wrong for him.
Well, the biggest mover so far since that incident would be HDR Daytona from 10th to 5th in less than a lap. So right now, keep an eye on HDR Daytona. MNR Fujiwara right there in the 6th position. But there was a new leader, which would be SSR Markey, and I believe that's Mosport, so we're going to go up and check that out. Mosport in the 2nd position. So SSR Mosport and F4A Scottson 1, 2, and 3. This is something that the SSR drivers have been talking about on and off all week long. I've been able to talk to them, and they said we have to be consistent, we have to keep pace if we want to take out F4H Scottson and ruin his chances for a win here tonight. Scottson, pretty confident with the car, but it's got a lot of work to do to keep up with them Porsches. He's pretty confident and able to do it. And right behind him is Eric Speed.
Looks like SSR Markey may have gotten a little loose going through turn 1 there. While that can be a very practical corner to go through, once you practiced it, it's still a very easy corner to unsettle the car if you try and use too much curb there on the inside. It will throw off the balance of your car.
Even that outside curb can get you once in a while as well.
Yeah, I'm interested to see how many issues that causes for our drivers tonight, because I think that could be a race-changing factor for at least 1 or 2 of them.
And Fujiwara and TX3 Topher. TX3 Topher looks like he's off the track. And I'm going to drop back and see. I'm not sure what happened there. They were side by side. It looked like Fujiwara got the worst end of it. Godly Drift, they're currently in the 10th position now. So TX3 Topher making some moves here a little bit early, trying to, as he's currently in the 7th position. Lucas McMees from 15th to 12th. GT500 Wills and HDR Yuko, who were in that earlier accident, Nightlock. And I gotta tell you, making mistakes early, you know, it doesn't seem like the end of the world, but when you're racing for the point standings and, you know, some things are on the line, it's going to be a little bit, you know, frisky. You get a little bit annoyed back there. You got to think these guys got to keep their cool for another about 20-something laps before they have to worry.
Absolutely. And in an endurance race like this, in any race that has length, An early on mistake in the first few laps absolutely does not mean you are out of opportunities to try and win the race. However, it will put you at a considerable disadvantage depending on what that mistake is. Because ultimately, these races are not decided by the raw pace in and of itself. Qualifying times can be very deceiving for any event like this. What is going to win you the race, just like you talked about with the SSR boys, is going to be consistently putting down your laps and limiting the mistakes that you make throughout your race. Oh, and it looks like we have Fujiwara going for a move up on the inside of Kamikaze. Does not look like he was able to make that stick, though. Kamikaze just got the run out of the corner on him.
And you see Kamikaze giving up position there. But oh, he goes back to the inside! Fujiwara and Kamikaze.
This is
side
a battle
by side.
Right now. Both of these
and
drivers are just towing.
TX3 Topher right now working on the backside of Ricky Bobby as well. We got two battles going, but Godly Drift, who's currently in that little bit of a mishap earlier on, up to 8th now, and he's now about to catch up to the back end of TX3 Topher. And while these battles are going on, I would like to go further up the pack and see how the top 3 drivers are doing. It looks like so far the SSR drivers are still 1 and 2. Marquis Mosport. Scotson's still sitting there as well. Scotson having to do a little bit more work with the Peugeot. That Peugeot is not the easiest car, but not the most difficult. But what's going to be really difficult tonight is for them to be able to come out of the turns. So he's got to make everything count, because those Porsches, their acceleration out of the turns is what's going to be more of an advantage here than that Peugeot.
Absolutely, and I think we are already beginning to see just the slight difficulty curve of that Peugeot compared to those Porsches currently, as it looks like F4H Scotson is actually beginning to drop off of the back of the SSR boys a little bit. This is going to be interesting to see how this race develops, to see if he'll be able to pull back this ground that he's currently losing. He just needs to clean up his corner exit a little bit, and that Peugeot should have the speed to be able to bring it back on the Porsches. But it all comes down to whether or not he can keep that car tamed around this track.
And Godly Drift now just getting by TX3 Topher for the 7th position. Now he is now working on Ricky Bobby. Godly Drift, someone to keep an eye on throughout this race. He was in the MEA GT Championship Series, and his first race of the season, he started about 4th place, got into a really bad accident, dropped back to 15th, and was able to finish in the top 3 of that race. Kind of the same story here. He dropped off, but he's definitely caught right back up. Side by side, they come out of turn 1. So Godly Drift looking to the inside of Ricky Bobby. He will hold the line. They tap, they touch. Topher gets into the mix, but has to hit on the brakes just a little bit. And Godly Drift now will take over the 6th position.
That was a good move by Godly Drift. Trying to put the car right up alongside your opponent mid-corner like that and pull it off without causing an accident is always going to be a scary move to try and pull, no matter what you are driving. That is something that takes a lot of guts and a lot of skill to try and pull off, and that was a very commendable move by him. But it looks like
now
Topher,
Ricky Bobby.
Looks like Topher, after that slight tap of the brakes, is beginning to fall off pace a little bit. I'm interested to see if he picks that back up in the next few corners.
Well, Topher was able to show us a little bit ago that he was able to keep up. He actually caught up to him a few laps ago. I'm sure that he knows that he has the speed to keep up with Ricky Bobby. The question is, you know, we talk about consistency. Consistency at Hockenheim is probably one of the most critical things, and most things at most tracks, but I feel like at Hockenheim, you got to be just on point with about every turn. There's some really short turns, but also some pretty wide turns. You just got to pick and choose your battles, and you got to be consistent. But here he goes. He's actually caught up to Ricky Bobby. TX3 Topher now on the back end of Ricky Bobby. They go side by side out of turn 1. There's nothing there for Topher. Will he try the inside move? And he won't. He will get it right in line. Probably the safest bet. So right now, TX3 Topher is currently working on Ricky Bobby. But we got to move up just a little bit here because there's a battle for 4th, 5th, and 6th.
HCR Daytona actually managed to take over 4th position from Eric Speed. And right now, we have Godly Drift slowly creeping up on the pair of them. You know he's going to be looking to try and make a move. If he can close in just a little bit, it's going to come down to, can he get that proximity to try and peek his nose inside before they hit a corner?
And showing the map, race map at the bottom. Oh,
sideways.
Eric Speed getting loose out of the turn. Looked like he just clipped. He might have just clipped the curb there, and I think he got a little loose. You know, these cars are a little bit finicky, Nightlock. I've actually did some practice with myself. If you hit the curb wrong, or even if you hit like a sign, even the signs can give you problems. Once your car starts getting out of whack, it's really hard to maintain. And actually, Eric Speed did a really, really good job there to get his car back straight forward. Now, he might have lost a little bit of ground and quite a bit to most people, but that could have been a lot worse than what it seemed to be.
That absolutely could have. You're comparing a one position loss and the person behind them catching up to you to possibly losing the car completely and forfeiting 2, 3, 4 positions before finally being able to get back on track. I agree, that absolutely played out in what was about the best way possible. I'm interested.
And right now, the battle for the lead.
What is going on?
Go ahead, what were you going to say there?
I was going to say, I'm interested to see what kind of moves Ricky Bobby will try and pull out and see just how much on the offensive he's going to go, or if he's just going to sit back and play the waiting game and wait for Eric Speed to make another mistake.
And right now, SSR Markey currently the fastest car on the track, but that could be just misleading because of the draft that Modsport is right on the rear bumper of SSR Markey. Points leader right now, HCR Yuko, battling his way back up to 12th. Lucas McMee's back to 15th, so Lucas McMee's a little off the pace again. Lucas McMee's currently in the pit, so he looks like he's making his first pit stop of the race, and so is a few others. So I see about 3 cars coming out of pit road. No, I see 2. 2 cars in pit road right now, so that would be Speed Bump and Lucas McMee's. I think Willis as well might have made a pit, so keep an eye on those guys. We can go further up the field here, and the current battle is for first. And we're going to hang on with these 2 drivers right now for first and second until things start unfolding a little more. F-Wade Scottson drifting off, and the Porsche's acceleration out of the turns is really coming to show here, Nightlock. But with the battle that's going on up front, these 2 drivers, SSR Markey and SSR Mosport, if these 2 drivers continue their little battle, you know, things can happen. I mean, you don't ever really want to overdo it. You don't really ever want to over-race your teammate, but it looks like they're definitely battling it out, and if something happens, Scottson will be right there. Scottson's a very consistent racer, so these guys got to be careful what they do.
And especially when you have a 1-2 with a team position like that, you never want to try and push that battle at the beginning of the race. That's not something you really should look at until you are a fair ways in, maybe 3/4 of the way through the race, because that's when the teammates will start pushing for position, trying to, you know, be the one to finish ahead. But until that point, they really need to just sit back and work together to help further their lead ahead of Scottson. If they can do that, then barring any unfortunate accidents, I do believe they will thoroughly cement a 1-2 victory for SSR in this race.
And a guy to keep an eye on right now, SSR Godly Drift, now up to the 4th position. He has pace and he is coming. You know, he's on his way, that's for sure. And we got to keep an eye on him. HCR Eternal currently 5th, Eric Speed 6th. I'm going to drop back and see how these guys are doing right now. Speed Bumps.
We're actually, Speed Bump is actually right there next to Eric Speed. He is being a backmarker, so it's going to be interesting to see if any battles hit him, how they're going to try and maneuver him.
Well, Ricky Bobby is actually tracking down Eric Speed, and if you look behind them, oh, Ricky Bobby getting a really bad turn off of the hairpin there. TX3 Topher has actually started drifting back a little bit. So Speed Bumps getting out of the way of Eric Speed, who's currently the 5th place car. FNG, something went wrong. Something went wrong, and we're waiting for Forza to unblack the screen. Daytona drops back to the 15th position. Oh, and I believe it's a disconnection by HDR Daytona, which is extremely, extremely unfortunate For HCR Daytona, that's not what you wanted to see.
No, you know that he is going to be unhappy about that one, especially given how he was looking to come back strong this week after the unfortunate ending to the race last week.
And HCR Daytona, you know, has had some disconnection problems in the past. He had a 2,000-foot lead at Laguna Seca in the GT Championship Series, led 22 out of the 31 laps, ended up disconnecting. And then, you know, last couple of weeks have been nothing but a struggle. Disconnected out of a race, I believe, in week 2. Week 1 he had an incident, and now he's where he was actually in really good position to have a nice night. That's the most unfortunate thing that could have happened to him tonight.
That really is. What's going to make the difference moving forward, though, is whether he can pick himself up from this disconnect and come back for the next event ready to fight it out and try and do again what he was looking to do this week. Sadly, when it comes to this kind of beast, you have to face the fact that you're going to occasionally have those connection issues. Sadly, it seems like he's drawn the short stick on that more than a few times in the past. So that's definitely a frustrating thing.
SSR Markey now up into the front. He's actually starting to distance himself quite a bit. So keep an eye on that. As Mosport's starting to drift from Markey, and we'll go check on how Scotson is doing. And Scotson is still on pace with these guys. He's not too far off, so it's not like he's dramatically out of it right now. I bring up the race map and the race statistics, and Markey with a 24.645 as the quickest lap of the race. Fujiwara with the fastest speed, about 211 miles per hour. So just keep an eye on that. And Fujiwara
that is absolutely
in the 8th
not
position.
shocking to see. It's absolutely not shocking to see that kind of speed coming from the Nissan. That thing can be an absolute monster in the straight lines if you tune it right. Its problem comes with trying to control the understeer that you can get when trying to really power out of those corners. But it's definitely commendable effort to see him bring it there. And speaking of getting the power down, as we see him right there coming out of the hairpin, trying those front tires down the straight, trying to find grip. That is what makes that car so difficult, is you don't have just the excess grip that you have from the Audi or any of the other all-wheel drive LMPs that you're being seen brought to these races. And I don't know, this is a very much so a driver-by-driver standpoint, but generally I find it much more comfortable to have those grip issues in a rear-wheel drive car than in a front-wheel drive car, because it's far more manageable in that.
And he's going to make a pit stop here on lap 13, so we'll see. It looked like he was starting to catch up to
yeah, he's actually
Ricky
coming
Bobby
into the
there.
pits right behind Eric Speed, and it doesn't
And
look like there's
Mosport,
too much proximity difference.
Mosport just came out of pit road in the 5th position, so TX3 Topher, Ricky Bobby up to 3rd and 4th. Actually, Ricky Bobby would be 3rd, Topher would be 4th.
Godly
Topher's
Drift
been
exiting
drifting
the
off a little bit.
pits in 6th. So
Eric Speed now coming out of the pits. He's currently the 7th place car. F&G also in pit road. So a couple guys making pit stops about lap 13 here, which is kind of expected.
And Fujiwara coming out of the pits in 9th place, just losing that one extra position in the pits. And a decent amount of distance to go with it. And that, yeah, that position loss is to HCR Yuko. Again, not sure if he made his first pit stop yet, or if he's still running. But I would not be shocked if you told me he had so far.
And Lucas McMee is off the track right now. Not sure what's going on with him. Ricky Bobby is now in pit road. The TX3 Topher will stay out and take over the 3rd position. And here's a guy right here that it's been impressed me a lot this season. Currently 3rd in the point standings. Doesn't do a lot of racing, does a lot of painting. He's one of TX3's painters. Very busy guy, very nice guy, one of the nicest guys I've ever talked to. Funny guy as well. TX Topher out there currently in the 3rd position now. We know he hasn't made his first pit stop just yet, but he's also in contention for a championship this season, and with HCR Yuko's mistakes and Fujiwara behind him, this is a good opportunity for Topher to get some of those points that could move him up in the point standings to get a little bit of a shot of winning the championship. And this is his first ever series ever in Tora, DOR, ORL. He is his first ever series, and it's with us here at MEA. We're glad to have him in his first ever series that he's competing in. And right now, he's doing a great job, and I just like him to get the recognition he deserves for that.
Absolutely. To be stepping into your first competitive series, and especially one with a car caliber such as this, it's absolutely amazing to be able to see someone put this good of a performance down. And he is in a great position for this race. Yes, he is sitting in 3rd. However, he is also currently ahead of the 2 people leading him in the standings, with HCR Yuko being further back in the pack and Daytona having that disconnect. Topher could bring in those well-needed points to try and boost him up to maybe steal a position away from Daytona.
And right now, F4A Scott's in the current race leader, as Markey and Mosport both made pit stops not too long ago. And with that Peugeot, he's able to stay out a lot longer being a diesel. So we'll see how long he stays out on the track. I think right now he's got about a few thousand foot lead, if not more, on, oh yeah, he's got about a 5,000 foot gap on Markey. So keep an eye and see what Scottson's got planned. As lap traffic's been pretty friendly to him. He just got around SSR FNG and now behind SSR Kamikaze, aka Monster. So Scottson looking to stay out again. So Scottson will probably stay out. I would not be surprised if he stayed out for another about 5 to 8 laps. And it looks like Kamikaze is getting out of his way, and he does, respectively. So now he's got around 2 lap cars, and that's kind of that's what Scottson's going to need to do right now. Those 2 drivers are currently in the pits, Nightlock, with the gap that was on him. He's got to put some of those lap cars in front of him and Markey. The problem is a couple of those cars are Markey's teammates, so you got to think, are they going to race him or are they going to let him by? And in most cases, more likely to let him by, as they did for Scottson.
Absolutely. That's one big thing you do not want to hold your teammates up on track unless you want to try and start a rivalry. And in the middle of a series, that never ends well. And it looks like Kamikaze getting a little loose out of that hairpin, but he recovered nicely and did not lose position. But yeah, right now what Scottson needs to focus on is just putting his head down and being sure to make the most of the clean air that he has in front of himself. And is this... Yeah, I don't know what happened. Speed bump getting very unsettled there through the stadium, right-hander. I don't know what happened to him entering that area, but he was off the track there. Just
and I saw that. He looks like he's got some engine damage on the car, and yes, he does. If I can get damage bar up. No, he doesn't. No, he doesn't have no damage. I guess... I'm not sure what's going on with speed bumps there. It looks like he's fine. The car looks fine. I wonder if he got loose, and when he came back onto the track, he just didn't get up to speed as well as he'd like to.
That is absolutely possible. I do know Speed Bump is one of the newer members to this community, and he's still trying to figure out how to pick up that pace and pick up that car control. So for him to decide to jump into this series with these cars, I will commend him for all day, especially for how new he is into this and how much less practice he is with competitive racing in general compared to a lot of the drivers we're seeing on track. And given all those factors, I think he's putting in a pretty good showing in the race and in the series so far.
He's been a guy that's committed himself to the series, and we're glad to see that he's with us. You know, it's a good experience, a good chance for him to learn, and we'll see how he does. But I got to point out something here. Godly Drift is catching up. He is relatively close as he's gaining on not only Markey, but Mosport, who's the car in front of him. So, and another car looks like out of the race. It's Lucas McMees. Lucas McMees disconnects out of the race, so Lucas McMees will end up being the 14th place car. Unfortunate circumstance once again. At least 13 cars on the track, and Scottson's still out on the track, and it shows that he's got the fuel to stay out. The question is he gaining anything from this? He could be, but we really don't know, as he hasn't set the fastest time on the track, but very consistent. If you got that consistency, anything can happen. So we'll see what happens here. He's probably going to make a pit stop within the next few laps here, I think, Nightlock.
There is one thing that I am noticing about Scottson, and this is just something that I want to clarify, because I've never noticed this before, if this is just a visual glitch on our behalf. But I'm noticing, despite the fact he is yet to make a pit, Scottson is not showing any tire wear whatsoever, despite having that fuel loss. And
if it says cosmetic damage, that's a glitch. We go through that quite a bit, so we will not be able to tell what Scottson's got going on there.
Yeah, that's why I was questioning it, because for all the drivers it's showing cosmetic damage only, but for every other driver that I'm seeing here going through the list, it's still okay. Godly Drift isn't showing any tire wear, so that is a very interesting glitch. I've yet to actually encounter that one in the game so far.
I've witnessed it quite a bit. It's relatively common now for me. It's kind of a mystery almost. You kind of sit there and wonder. Ooh, and I gotta point this out. Godly Drift with the quickest time of the track right now with a 24.608. So he's now the fastest car on the track by time. The top speed still set by Fujiwara, as he's still in the 8th place, and the leader, Scottson, currently the leader right now. So said, got to keep your eyes on for Godly Drift, and he's making a hard charge. A hard charge.
Yeah. So far, Scottson is doing some good work, holding a 5,000-foot gap to our current second-place runner of Markey, and Markey holding about 1,000 foot from his teammate of Mosport. But it looks like we've got three and 4 are split by a back marker. That would happen to be, speed bump. At first I thought we had 3 through 5 bunched up there. I was about to say, we may have a good
running
battle
alongside with the points leader right now, who was in that early incident off of turn 1. Currently in the 10th position, HCR Yuko. He won week 1 and week 2 last week. Finished in the top 5, or no, I'm sorry, he finished 6th in that race. And he's trying to maintain his lead, but with unfortunate circumstances in the Audi, he's got some work to cut out with 13 laps to go. We're not sure where everyone's at, because we don't know who's still got another pit stop left to go. But anything could happen. We have no idea where he's currently sitting, so we'll keep an eye on Yuko and see how that's going to go down.
And again, combining the fact of that early incident with him taking the handicap of choosing the rear-wheel drive Audi prototype over its all-wheel drive variant is going to limit just what he can do coming out of corners compared to some of these other cars on track. However, Yuko currently pulling up to the back of Kamikaze as we are watching. The question is how long before he'll be able to take that?
And I'm really impressed with this driver right here, Eric Speed, one of the guys that hasn't had the year he's wanted. He's missed a race or two. He's gotten involved last week. This week, showing that he's got a top quality car out there, and currently running in the fifth position. I'd really like to keep an eye on him, as this is a very good performance by him. And Topher, the 6th place car, Topher about 2 or 3 positions up from where he started. So Topher having a pretty good run here today. No setbacks. And we talked about Topher. If he wants to move up in the point standings, he's got to stay in front of Fujiwara and HCR Yuko, and Fujiwara is the 7th place car who's trying to track him down, but they're also under fire because F4H Scottson is looking to put them a lap down.
How many cars is this man going to put down before he jumps into the pits, sitting on 38% fuel without having made his first pit yet?
He's distanced himself from SSR Markey a little bit. I'm keeping an eye on the distance, and we said earlier he had about 5,000 feet. He's now up to about 5,500 feet from where we were earlier. So it could be some good news for Scottson after losing the lead on lap 1. You can't blame him. You can't blame the car he's in, because those Porsches here are just really fast. I mean, it's like the Lamborghini in the GT class. You know, it's good off of those exits. It's fast by acceleration. Those Porsches are exactly what this track thrives on. So it's kind of interesting to see how this is going to play out with about 12 laps to go here.
Yeah, and Scottson finally jumping in for his first pit stop. The question is did he make the most of the clean air to be able to hold on to that first place? That is going to be the question.
And here comes Markey around the final turn, so I'm sure that Markey's going to get that position back. But did Scottson gain enough ground on Mosport to kind of give Mosport a little bit of a scare here? And it doesn't look like he's going to get him right off of the pits, but it looks like he's gained a little bit of ground on Mosport. So he's back on the racetrack, and SSR Godly Drift is right there as well. So Godly Drift looking to put Scottson in another position down. These 4 drivers up front have been doing nothing but have been exciting to watch. 5th place, Eric Speed, just now getting around the final couple of turns. So right now, it's pretty much a 4-car race up to this point. I know all 4 of those drivers have made a pit stop.
Yeah, we're starting to get to the point of the race where a lot of the cars are getting spread out. Oh, we have a car off track, and that would be Speed Bump. Looks like he is waiting for a point to be able to rejoin, but I'm not sure. Oh, yeah, he is moving now. He had it parked up in the sand, so it looks like he may have out. No, he has stopped again. He doesn't have any vehicular damage. I wonder what could be going on with him.
Could be a battery issue.
That is entirely possible. And he's moving again. Is he going to keep moving? It looks like he is. And Speed Bump back, setting off. But about
so
a lap down from those that are directly in front of him.
And Topher into the pits and out of the pits, now is in front of the other Peugeot. You know, these two are one of the only 3 Peugeot drivers on the track, or actually 2 of the 3 Peugeot drivers on the track. GT500, the only other one.
It looks like Speed Bump, yes, Speed Bump had either left or had a disconnect. I'm not quite sure which, but he will take 13th for the race on a DC. Again, very unfortunate to see another driver have to drop from the race, but still with
and
a 12-car
TXT Topher getting passed up by Scottson now. Godly Drift right there, so maybe Topher might hold up Godly Drift. You're sure thinking that Scottson's thinking, hey, can you hold this guy up for me a little bit? He's catching up, but probably not what he's thinking.
No, I think right now the only thing on Scottson's mind is trying to keep those lines and making sure he does not miss those points, as Godly Drift is catching up to him more and more every lap. You can tell he's starting to feel a bit of the pressure from having another SSR boy coming up behind him.
And Godly Drift going to make his final pit stop, I do believe, of the race. So Godly Drift in pit road, as Mosport, as well as SSR Markey. So all 3 of the SSR drivers in pit road. That leaves Scottson back on the racetrack all by himself. And last time this happened, he actually gained ground on him. So with about 9 laps to go, this is a chance for Scottson. Now, I'm going to step away from the mic just momentarily, so go ahead and do some play-by-plays. I have to fix something real quick here.
Absolutely. Okay, let's go ahead and jump on with the group coming out of the pits. Again, SSR Markey in 2nd, followed by Mosport in 3rd, and Godly Drift in 4th. Question is, Eric Speed coming out right on, Godly Drift coming out just in front of Eric's speed. The question is, can he make up any time? And Fujiwara coming in for his final pit stop, but HCR Yuko looks like is going to take that 6th position from Fujiwara. Now the question is, with Ricky Bobby coming around the last corner, I do not believe... Oh, never mind. Yuko is in the pits as well. So Yuko down to 8th with Scottson coming up behind him and Topher leaving the pit lane. Let's go ahead and hop on board with Yuko, see how he's getting on here. Eric Speed in 5th. Oh, Fujiwara just managing to take over that 9th position from TX3. Oh, never mind. Topher got that position back. I'm sorry, my map was lying to me there for a second. It does seem.
Alright, so I'm back. Thanks, Nightlock, for that. Alright, so right now, back to the action here, and I see a battle for the 8th positions emerging. Look who it is, Fujiwara, caught up to TX3 Topher. Now this is where Topher's going to thrive.
Yeah, Fujiwara managed to do a lot of work to make up time between those pit stops to try and get up to the back of Topher. And currently, our series leader, HCR Yuko, holding down his finishing position from last week in 6th. But he has a lot of room up to Godly Drift. It looks like so far, yeah, our leaders, apart from the duo of Marky and Mosport, are fairly well spread out. So I don't think we're going to see just too much action from them. They all have clean air.
And Godly Drift, oh my gosh! Godly Drift trying to get around 2-lap cars, battling it for position. FNG and GT500 battling it out for the 11th position right now. Godly Drift still in the 5th position, got caught up, got underneath both of the drivers, and literally almost knocked all 3 of each other out. Godly Drift getting that tap on the wheels, and he almost went way off the track on that right-hander. That was really crazy, but we got a great battle here for the 11th position right now. It's FNG and Wills battling side by side as they go around this lap here. We're going into lap number 27. They're duking it out. Battling, but FNG goes way wide up the turn, almost losing the car. Managed to get back on the track, and Eric Speed in the pits.
F4H Scottson taking his last pit. However, he could not put in the same amount of work that he put in last time, and having a fairly sizable gap up to Marky. No, I'm sorry, I misread that. Scottson actually currently, no? Okay, Forza is glitching out for me right now. No, I was correct.
Don't worry, I have it.
Yeah. Scottson has a decent little distance gap between him and the 2 SSR leaders of Mosport in 2nd and Marky in 1st. As long as those 2 keep their distance and don't hold each other up, then they should be able to take a 1-2 in this race uncontested from Scottson any further. The question is, will Godly Drift be able to make up the distance to catch up to Scottson to try and snatch that podium away from him?
And right now, I'm still on the battle with GT500 and FNG. The Peugeot Porsche battle continues here at Hockenheim. And if you're just tuning in, this is week 4 of the MEA week 4 of the MEA Prototype Challenge. I was so used to the GT Championship Series, I have that locked into my brain. But the Prototype Challenge, as we're currently riding along with FNG here, and it looks like GT500 Wills has finally distanced himself. So we'll get off them for a little bit. We'll move up and see how Fujiwara is doing as he was tracking down TX3 Topher. And right now, it looks like he's still the same gap. Actually, looked like he lose a little time on Topher, so he's... But now we got a new best lap, our SSR Mosport with a 24.5. So the SSR boys actually switching it up on the fastest laps. But here we go. We got riding along with Godly Drift, and I gotta wonder if Godly Drift ended up having some problems with some lap down cars, because he was a lot closer to Scottson. Unless Scottson had a really good couple laps where he was, or while Godly was in the pits. he's definitely distanced himself a little bit. And I wonder if F&G and GT500 actually held up Godly Drift in that matter, but nonetheless, with about, I'd say, we're going about 5 laps to go here. It's going to get interesting. Can Mosport track down Markey? And I just don't see it happening. As long as Markey continues running, he has nobody in front of him. It could be really tough for Mosport to get him, and I think Scottson could be out of the chance to win here. But anything could happen. Anything could happen. A disconnection,
Absolutely.
a wreck.
I think so far for our top 4, barring any incidents on track, it is fairly well set as to what the top 4 grid order is going to be. I cannot see Godly Drift managing to make up the time to Scottson in the remaining laps, given that he had to try and fight to get around Kamikaze the way that he did. Kamikaze definitely doing something to hold him up.
I'm riding with HDR Yuko right now. I'm not sure if he took his last pit yet or if he's running as long as he can to the final lap to take that pit stop. But he's already up to the 5th position, or now he's up to the 5th position here late in the race. Probably a good sign for him if he has made a second pit stop. If not, he's probably going to drop back to 8th or 9th again. But we'll keep an eye on Yuko here as we're currently down to about four laps here. Well, in about a second here, I should say.
I currently have my eyes on Ricky Bobby. I would like to see if he will be able to make up any of this gap to Eric Speed and try and snatch that 6th position away from him before he runs out of laps to go in this race.
And Eric Speed, one of the most consistently impressive drivers here today, has had a couple of hiccups, but has been able to keep pace, and right now he's trying to crack back into that top 5. Looking for his first ever broadcast interview here at MEA. It would be nice to have him on in here if he could hold up, but we still have to figure out where Yuko sits. Is Yuko, we still don't know.
I'm fairly certain that Yuko has taken his last pit stop. I believe this is corrected for that. I don't think Eric's going to be able to edge out that top 5 unless one of our leaders manages to make a mistake. However, again, we're coming up to 4 laps remaining, so anything is a possibility left in this race. We are reaching the point where all these drivers are going to start pushing as hard as possible to try and make up that little bit of extra distance, to try and get that one bonus position.
You know, Fujiwara is doing everything he can to catch up to Topher. Fujiwara has had an interesting season. He's had a couple of top 5s. He's also had a really rough week last week at Monza, which was really unfortunate with the way the Nismo was dominating. SSR Katie and HDR Daytona just dominated that race for Nismo. He didn't finish as well as he could have, and he knows it. But right now, he knows that TX3 Topher is one of the top guys in the championship running, and he also probably knows that Yuko is not if he has another pit stop, is still behind him. So we'll be finding out here very shortly, but he's definitely trying to track down Topher, and Topher is doing everything he can to finish out this race strong. And Topher's had some little holes of light throughout this race where he was up on Ricky Bobby for the longest time, lost some pace. So you know, anything can happen here. You know, like you said, anything can happen. Back on HDR Yuko, 3 laps to go. SSR Markey, currently your race leader. Second would be Mosport. Third would be F4H Scottson. Fourth is Godly Drift. Fifth, currently, HDR Yuko. Sixth would be Eric Speeds. In the 7th position would be Ricky Bobby. 8th, TX3 Topher. 9th, Fujiwara. 10th, Kamikaze. 11th, GT500. 12th, FNG 96. And then the drivers that have been disconnected out of this race up to this point, Speed Bumps, 96. Also, Lucas McMees, and then HDR Daytona with the unfortunate disconnection as well. All 3 drivers, we didn't want to see that happen to them, but you know, it happens. It's part of the game, and you got to kind of live with it.
Riding on board with FNG, I'm not sure if he's made all of his pit stops, but definitely in a very interesting place fuel-wise. I don't know what kind of fuel burn you see on this track, but currently sitting at 17% fuel, still trying to chase down Wills. We do know that these prototypes are very thirsty machines. So if he has taken all of his pits, he could be gambling on making it to the end of the race. And if he can't, that will be a very costly error to have to give up the possibility of taking 11th from Wills.
And the battle for 11th is on, the only battle really on the track. So we'll get back up to the leader as he gets to his final couple of laps. But FNG still working a little bit of a corner cut there in turn 1, but these two have been battling out so much, nothing really matters. As GT500 and FNG just duking it out. FNG has done everything he can up to this point to try to get around GT, and I think that's where he's fuel consumption has become a problem for him. Is the fact that he's been putting so much effort into tracking down GT500. You know, more tire wear, more gas usage. And Godly tripped the quickest time with a 24.3 as he retakes the quickest time on the racetrack. Wow, you can only imagine if those 4 drivers, Scotts and Markey, Mosport, Godly, were all together in a line right now. I mean, they have been battling it out back and forth. It's been nothing but, well, when it comes to the lap times. But it'd be very impressive to see if they were all 4 together right there at the end of the race. With 1 lap to go, though, SSR Markey has pretty much distanced himself from the pack. I don't think Godly Drift's going to be able to get to Scottson with only a couple laps to go here. And we're going to get on with Modsport.
Yeah, joining on with our battle for 8th, Fujiwara is doing everything he can to try and reel in Topher. He makes some gains occasionally, but he's pushing the car a little too hard and is beginning to make some errors. And again, as we've seen with him all race, he is showing a lot of issues trying to effectively get the power down in that front-wheel drive vehicle. He is frying those tires out of a lot of the corner exits. That is always going to be a costly error in any kind of race, especially one like this. To just go foot to the floor and wind up spinning it out of a corner. You're going to lose so much speed and so much time if you consistently do that.
And here he comes, ladies and gentlemen. SSR Markey with 1 lap to go. The white flag is in the air. All he has to do is keep his car on the racetrack for his first victory this season. But that's never always an easy task. The nerves start shaking. And right now, Markey, after all week talking about he could just win this race, has the greatest opportunity up to this point right now.
There is definitely, it's very conflicting to be coming up to the end of the race and to be in the lead on the final lap. It's a great feeling to know that you've battled your way up there and you are holding that crown. You can feel the trophy in your hand, but also knowing you are just a single slip away from losing it all. As they say,
Fujiwara
it is his race to lose. Yeah, Fujiwara battling to not let Markey by, trying to not
It looked more like he
out
just not hit the brakes in time. And here we go, the final few turns of the racetrack, and once again, ladies and gentlemen, I'll have all the race interviews at the end of this race, so stay tuned as I get in hold with some of these drivers, talk about the race right after this. But here he is, final few turns of the racetrack, TX3 Topher in front of him. Now, I don't think he's going to get him here, and I'm sure he has no worries about that. But SSR Markey, 2 turns remain. It's been a rough season for Markey. Last week, not making the race. Week 1, got into some incidents, was tracking down Yuko. But this week, SSR Markey will win at Hockenheim. And coming around the final couple of turns as well, SSR Mosport with another strong finish of the season in the 2nd position. F48 Scottson coming around the final turn as well. He will finish in the 3rd position. 4th position will be SSR Godly Drift as Godly battled his way back up after an early instance of the race. Now Yuko, after all the problems he's had, has made his way back into the top 5, and this is huge for HCR Yuko because he was in a pretty bad spot for a while there and was able to battle his way back up to the front. It looks like 6th will remain to Eric's Speed as nothing crazy happens. Ricky Bobby with another consistent performance in the 7th position here. TX3 Topher still trying to track him down in the 8th. 9th Fujiwara, 10th Kamikaze, 11th. And I think the battle for 11th and 12th is still going. No, FNG has actually distanced himself.
Yeah, whether or not...
Oh, and a battle for the 7th position! Topher, something went wrong!
Battle for 7th
Oh,
position,
maybe
and we
not.
actually have F&G coming up on them. No, Topher
And
is
actually, it's
just
Ricky
going
Bobby
to
that had
pull away.
problems. Ricky Bobby! He's out of fuel. Ricky Bobby is out of fuel. He's coasting.
Oh no!
He's got Fujiwara right behind him. Fujiwara trying to get around him. Can he get around him?
And
Ricky Bobby can't throw the block.
Around him. That has to burn to lose out on the position at the very end because of that lack of fuel
And
management.
Ricky Bobby coasting in 9th. And I'm going to get out of here and get to the race drivers. What a race that was, Nightlock. I mean, that was a very interesting race for some of these drivers near the end, but nonetheless,
that was absolutely incredible.
And for all you guys that are watching, I'm about to bring the drivers on in, so just hang in here for a little bit. Oops. So we're going to bring the drivers on in here for a quick interview.
That was definitely
an
amazing race to be able to watch. There were some really good battles that we got to see on track, and some of the drivers really pushing things to the edge, especially with Ricky Bobby running out of fuel. That's a move that you know he is not happy with. But that's part of the sport, is gambling on whether or not you can make it to the end without having to waste more time in the pits. He took the gamble, and it did not pay off on this route. In this race,
and
however, that's something he can work on for the next one.
And we're about to finish up the races here, and the top 5 drivers coming into the party, and we'll get with them momentarily here as they are waiting to finish up the race. I think they just finished over the line, so I'll bring up the final standings here of the race, and we'll get with the drivers here in a quick second. And I'd like to ask everybody that just joined the party, all the drivers, to make sure that your party audio is on. And I'd like to start with HDR Yuko, and I got to ask you, Yuko, that was probably a pretty long and intensive race for you, just having to battle your way back. I saw at the beginning of the race, turn 1, you had a little incident there. It dropped you back to about 14th. You found the way to battle way up. We weren't sure if you had another pit stop there at the end with 5 to go, but you battled and able to make yourself into the top 10 to finish 5th. Not the start you wanted, but I'm sure that's the result you were hoping to get at the end.
Yeah, and in the end, to be honest, I think that was about as much as I could aim for. I knew what my pace was, I knew what I was looking for coming into this. Turn 1, bit of an unfortunate incident that was caused by myself. I stuck my nose in through turn 1 when I really should have backed off. Unfortunately cost me at the start, so the rest of the race was just about pulling it back. Had enough pace though, was able to come screaming back through the field to P5. Just enough to probably keep myself looking good in the points so far, and move on to the next one.
And you know, Yuko, you were able to pick up the first 2 wins of the season. Last week, you settled for 6 right behind Scottson. This week, got yourself back in the top 5. They've been pretty good results for you all season long. Going to next week, you're hoping for better results, but nonetheless, you've been able to keep the car pretty much up front and been able to make it work. And with the situation we're in today, you have to be happy with that result.
Yeah, to me, actually, this result was pretty good for me. I mean, after the incident of turn 1, I actually wasn't overly phased, to be honest. I knew where I was aiming for, I knew what I wanted. I got there in the end, and I'm content with 5th, to be honest. It's more looking at keeping the momentum going, not really trying to get too many bad results or anything, just keeping it consistent now.
Well, congratulations on the top 5 for you, and we'll look forward to seeing what you can pull up next week. So, good job today. And moving up the script here is SSR Golly Drift, who is also in a little bit of an interesting predicament. And this, I know I said this once, make sure you guys' party all is on. Golly Drift, I gotta ask you. It seemed just like back in the MEA GT Championship Series, you had a similar incident where you got knocked off the track. Not as bad as that series of that back at Road America, but but you were off pace a little bit. Had to kind of battle your way up. You looked like you were starting to have a chance to take a crack at Scottson there with about 10 laps to go. You went in to make a pit. What happened? It looked like did you have an incident? We did see the incident with you, F&G, and GT500. That was a close call there.
Yeah, it was pretty close. It's kind of like one of those moments where, like, you know you want to get past, so you try not to, but you know they're fighting. Second corner was just sim twitch, just off the curb, cold tires, and then just straight off. And then was catching Scottson, but just dipped the wheel on the grass, and then basically just lost all the time in one of the corners. But all in all, well done to Marky and all the other guys. It was a good race.
Well, you know, Golly, you've been a really consistent driver and everything that we've seen you run, and today it was no disappointment there. You got to be happy with the top 5 heading into next week. You've been pretty strong the last couple of weeks.
Yeah, can't be too bad with it. I think you got the fastest lap in, but not too bad.
Well,
I'll take the 4th place after today.
Congratulations, and looking forward to see what you pull up next week as well. So,
yeah, cheers.
Good job today as well. And F4H Scottson might not be the result you wanted, being a pole sitter, but was able to maintain the car, keep a top 5, kept Godly drift away from you there at the end. It seemed like you were just trying to run really consistent. It looked like at moments you were actually catching up instead of fading. I know at the beginning of the race you're kind of fading off, but it seemed like as the race progressed, about midway, you were actually catching up to Mosport and Marky a little bit, and then after your second pit stop, it just seemed like there was really no gain there, but finishing top 3, not a bad day.
It was okay. To be honest, I was expecting the 919 to win here, you know. The car's incredibly strong around here. Didn't really know what to do with the strategy. Kind of run it long, hoping they would maybe make a mistake, but yeah, the 919 was just too strong here. I'm still happy with the podium though in this car.
Well, you know, the Porsche was a lot better off the exits, but you were able to maintain that Peugeot up there, and that's an accomplishment itself compared to the competition of Porsches that you had to face with today.
Yeah, exactly. I was just really happy to get this car into the podium.
Well, congratulations on another solid week. Last week 5th, this week 3rd, next week possibly 1st. You've been pretty consistent since joining the series, so we're looking forward to seeing what you can pull off. You've been nothing but enjoyable to watch, and there's been nothing but great racing from you. So congratulations on another top 5 this week. We'll look forward to seeing you next week.
Thanks, man. Looking forward to next week as well.
All right, thank you. And then Mosport, I gotta ask you, there was times of this race where you had cracks at Marky. Between you, Godly Drift, and Marky, you guys were actually swapping best times throughout most of this race. It was back and forth, and like I said, you had times that you could have probably challenged Marky early in the race, but decided not to. Do you regret making the decision to play it safe?
Honestly, not really. The strategy that I was kind of going for was try to kind of follow Marky as long as I could, maybe get him to make a mistake, and then get an easy and safe pass done like that. But then, yeah, by pitting early, I think I lost a little bit of time. And then once I realized that I couldn't probably catch up to Marky and get past him, I just decided to play it safe, and I was just cruising to the end.
And it seemed like you had a pretty strong car, not too many mistakes, but you and Marky were practicing. We know Marky's been practicing a lot this week, but you've had quite a bit of practice as well. You guys definitely showed, so congratulations on another top 5, another strong performance again this season, and see what you bring to the table next week. I know you're looking forward to trying to get a win.
Yeah, for sure. Thank you. And also, Marky and I actually got the same best lap time, identical to the 1,000th of a second.
Well, that is true, except one was dirty and one was clean.
Well, okay, yeah. Close enough.
We gotta get that in there too. But nonetheless, congratulations on a runner-up. And the man of the hour, SSR Marky. Congratulations on the win. You talked to us the last couple of days on and off. You said, I want this win. You said it today before the race. I want nothing else but the win, and you wanted to accept nothing else but a win, and you got it here today. And it was a little bit challenging at some points. Had to get around F4H Scottson early on. You had the pressure of Mosport, but near the end you had the distance, and all you had to do was kind of coast the rest of the way around. and you gotta be happy with the first win of the season for you, and looking forward to maybe some more. You know, you had a really good run, not where you wanted to start week 1. I believe you missed week 2 and 3. Week 3, you didn't mean to miss, but you missed. But a good bounce back nonetheless, and I'm sure you're looking for more as the season goes on.
Yeah, of course.
Well, congratulations, Marky, on the win and your first MEA victory. So we'll look forward to seeing how many more you can possibly get as well. And you all did a very good job today. We had nothing but great action here tonight, Nightlock. A lot of battles in the back of the pack with some other drivers. TX3 Topher and Fujiwara battling it out. We also had GT500, F&G there at the end duking out. Ricky Bobby running out of fuel on the final few turns of the track. He went from 6th to 9th, running over the line with no fuel in the car. And then the unfortunate disconnections for Speed Bump, Lucas McMees, and once again HCR Daytona, who's had nothing but unfortunate luck all season long. But I gotta thank you, M&R Nightlock, for being by my side here tonight covering the race, and I hope you enjoyed it as much as I did.
Absolutely. It was a lot of fun to be able to be here to watch all the great battles that we had today, and just to be able to commentate, give some of my thoughts, and really see what the racing was like from a different perspective other than one of on track in the car. It's definitely been a great experience for me. I loved it more than anything.
Well, we hope to have you back in the near future. And for all of you that were watching, whether you were on our new YouTube channel, and this will be saved on YouTube. Finally, we got the new video quality and new programming up, so hopefully that looks a lot better on YouTube. And for all you that are following me on Mixer here today that have watched, we appreciate you guys following and watching the racing action, as tonight's winner would be SSR Markey in week number 4 of the MEA Prototype Challenge here at Hockenheim. Second would be SSR Modsport, third BF4H Scotch, and fourth would be SSR Godly Drift, and rounding out the top 5, HCR Yuko, after a early race incident, able to battle his way back into the top 5. I'm SSR Mayhem, alongside me here tonight, M&R Nightlock, as we wish you good night, and we'll see you next week. Thank you all for watching here at MEA.